I keep these notebooks that I write all of my daily stuff in, that I write down my goals in, and things like that. And I was looking back at my notes from last season around this time, and it became clear to me that I have been, so far this preseason, overwhelmingly negative. Maybe not necessarily in the tenor of these videos, but almost exclusively in the topics of these videos, talking about how will the Kansas City Chiefs solve the offensive tackle position, who will fill in for L'Jarius Sneed, all of these sorts of things. Last year at this time, I was making videos concluding that every wide receiver on the roster was absolutely 100% going to be a number one wide receiver, and maybe Jerry Rice would have to look out for his behind. But it wasn't quite that bad. I wasn't quite that bad. But I think there were compelling reasons for at least compelling reasons behind all of the maybes at wide receiver on the roster. But this season, I've maybe focused too much on questions. But today, I want to get back to talking about positives, and a positive position group that, if you go back just a couple seasons, would have sounded like absolute heresy to say that this is a strength of the team. Think about Nick Bolton's rookie year. Coming into the season, Nick Bolton was completely unknown quantity, at least at the NFL level. If you paid any attention to him at college, you knew he was a playmaker, but to say that you knew he could step up and play 1,000 snaps and make 180 tackles, even I, who supported the pick at the time, would have been lying had I said that much. That season, heading into that season, the Kansas City Chiefs had been pretty lost at linebacker for a pretty long time. So to have come this far, this fast, to where, so that season, Nick Bolton's rookie year, Willie Gay was still just a young pup. He was a guy that was all talent, no production so far in the NFL. To have come to the point where the loss of a player as electric as Willie Gay, we don't like to see Willie go, but we understand that probably the defense will get along without him. And one of the reasons why is Lionheart Leo Chenal. Now, there is an article today that I found through the Arrow Headlines article on Arrowhead Pride, but it comes to us from Sports Illustrated. It is an article titled Most Underrated NFL Players, one from every AFC team. For the Kansas City Chiefs, they pick none other than Lionheart Leo Chenal, saying, quote, "The man who stripped Christian McCaffrey in the Super Bowl," end quote. I already have to stop you. Because yes, he did strip Christian McCaffrey in the Super Bowl. He also blocked a field goal. Both of these things happened in the same game that he absolutely annihilated one offensive lineman after another in a way that a 250-pound linebacker should not be able to do. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Back into the article. Quote, "The man who stripped Christian McCaffrey in the Super Bowl already has his place cemented in Chiefs history. But the third-round pick in 2022 also cut his missed tackle percentage from 12.5% to 4.4% in his second season, and became a much larger part of Kansas City's pressure package. Chenal is also cut his yards per completion allowed total from 15.4 to 7.9, despite facing a much higher volume of targets. There were a couple of times in the Super Bowl when his speed was enough to force Brock Purdy to pass up a checkdown option and allow the Chiefs' pass rush time to get into the backfield. With that speed, he was also able to get into the backfield and stop some of the 49ers' quick game from establishing itself. We've seen so often how the range of an interior off-ball linebacker can give good defenses some breathing room when they're forced into base looks. CHENAL is certainly developing into one of those players who shouldn't have to leave the field as much. So, I've got 5 thoughts on Leo CHENAL heading into this, his 3rd season. Number 1 is who, and this is a doozy. 6'3", which is in the 75th percentile for linebackers. 250 pounds, which is in the 85th percentile for linebackers. So you put those two things together, and he's tall, 75th percentile, but he's packing on the pounds, reaching up 10 percentile from his height profile. But then we get into the really, really wacky stuff about Leo CHENAL. He ran a 4.53 40-yard dash, which is 91st percentile. To be running a 91st percentile at 85th percentile weight is insane. But he's not just got the long speed. He had a 1.55 10-yard split on that 40-yard dash, which is 88th percentile. Now, it doesn't stop there. He's an explosive guy as well. A 40.5-inch vertical leap is 97th percentile. So, 85th percentile weight with 91st percentile speed and 97th percentile explosion. But it doesn't even stop there. Still, in the realm of explosion, a 10-foot 8-inch broad jump is 96th percentile, but that all-important 3-cone drill, a change of direction football-style drill, he ran a 6.98, which is 74th percentile. By the way, just to staple this onto the back of these numbers, he had 34 reps on the bench press, which is 100th percentile. So, 85th percentile weight, 91st percentile speed, 97th percentile explosion, and 100th percentile strength. And guys, that strength shows up on the film. Not only does he just bench press offensive linemen out of his way and sometimes onto their backs, but this motion is how he causes fumbles, and he did that in the postseason. Now, if we're going to be fair, last season, he played well. He didn't play a whole lot. He played all 17 games, but only had 10 starts. He played 443 snaps, tallying up 65 tackles, 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 11 pressures, and a 90.6 PFF run defense grade. So, if there's one hole in Leo CHENAL's game, and it's pass coverage. Though he's fast enough, though he has the change of direction skills, oftentimes it seems that he is not all that great at reading routes once they have started. So he's kind of just fluttering around out there as he's playing in his zone, or heaven forbid, he finds himself man up on someone like Christian McCaffrey. But that's a linebacker in the NFL. I mean, linebackers are not great at coverage. Drew Tranquill is an exception, not the rule. Here's the thing. We know he does have the speed. We know he does have the change of direction ability. So I believe he can develop the pass coverage ability. Part of him not having the pass coverage ability is the fact that he's never really had to do it, which feeds into the first criticism I was going to make here, is that so far at the NFL level, he's done a little bit of everything. But in the college level, well, he was basically a blitzer in the pass rush department. He was not a coverage specialist. He was going forward to try to get the quarterback. And we see a little bit of that in these numbers: 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, and 11 pressures. That's a good number, especially considering you played only 443 snaps overall. The next thing that I think here, heir to the Bolton. We have to start considering the fact that Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Nick Bolton all came in the same draft class. This is the final season of that draft class's rookie contracts. Now, I am as big a Nick Bolton fan as anyone. I came up with the name Hit Stick Nick. But I don't know if Brett Veach is the type to re-sign linebackers and running backs to big contracts. It does not seem like a Brett Veach thing to do. The Drew Tranquill contract was a decent size. It was not a massive deal. Nick Bolton strikes me as the type that would probably love to re-sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Bolton strikes me as the type that loves to win. Nick Bolton is the type that is going to get some big money offers in free agency. I 100% believe that. There is going to be someone, and I say overpay a linebacker because of the positional value, but there's going to be someone willing to overpay a Nick Bolton. And guys, he's got some rings already, so he has to make his money, right? It would not surprise me if Nick Bolton bolts this offseason. But I don't think that it will be a bolting. I think that it would be a matter of the Kansas City Chiefs just not being able, really, in my opinion, to match that contract, because I think that they're going to be trying to do different things. I think they're going to try to make a splash with a big name something this offseason, this coming offseason, because they did not do it this last offseason. And sometimes it's very difficult in the NFL to draft for all of your needs. You have 7 picks every season, and these contracts last 5 years for a first rounder, 4 years for every year after that, and most UDFA contracts are 3 years. So I think that it's probably just going to be a money crunch that stops the Kansas City Chiefs from re-signing Nick Bolton. And it might be that Nick Bolton finds himself not a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, and where am I at here? Leo Chenal. Pardon me. Leo Chenal finds himself having to step into that big middle linebacker role for the Chiefs, and I think he can do it. I think that he is absolutely the kind of guy that can do that. The number 4 thought I have here about Leo Chenal is this: Saint Chenal. ST stands for special teams, but Saint Chenal, the special teamer. PFF had Leo Chenal rated as the highest performing special teams player in the NFL at a 90.9 grade. Now, do you want one of your starting 3 linebackers out there on special teams so often? It might be that you do. It might be that you have to. It might be that Leo Chenal is the type of animal that can absolutely take that level of workload. It's also going to be a very interesting season, at least from a special team standpoint in the NFL, because of these new kickoff rules. And a guy like Leo Chenal, who is so dangerous next to the line of scrimmage, is probably the kind of guy that you want covering that kickoff format. You're going to have guys like Leo Chenal out there, and there might not be another Leo Chenal in the league. So it's going to be interesting from a standpoint for the Kansas City Chiefs to see, do you want to run Leo Chenal out there for all of those special teams plays this season? And do you have an option not to? Now, here's the thing. The number 5 thought that I have here about Leo Chenal is this. What is this? I guess it's a question. What is this linebacker core going to look like moving forward? Drue Tranquill just signed a 3-year deal. Leo Chenal is entering the 3rd season of his rookie contract. There will be 4 years on that deal. Curtis Jacobs is entering his rookie season. We don't know what he is in the NFL yet, but he seems to be a competent NFL linebacker from what we know about him at the college ranks. Cam Jones proved, I think, that he is absolutely an NFL level linebacker last season. Is he a starter? I don't know that we saw that much. I don't know that we saw enough to say, yeah, no, he can be on the field. He's entering the 2nd of what is likely a 3-year rookie contract as a UDFA. Nick Bolton is entering his final season, 4th and final season of his rookie contract. Jack Cochran is entering the 3rd, I believe, and final season of his undrafted rookie free agent contract. That's a lot of words there, but so I think Leo Chenal so Nick Bolton, I said maybe he doesn't get re-signed. I don't know. What is Nick Bolton? What does Nick Bolton bring to the table? Nick Bolton is an extremely good football player. He can get you 180 tackles in a season, right? He is a talented football player. He is not the greatest athlete. Leo Chenal is a very talented football player and is an incredible athlete. Because of that, the things that Leo Chenal is able to bring to the table get a little exponent put on top of that number. He's able to line up basically as a defensive tackle. He's able to line up in an A gap. He's able to rush the quarterback from there. He's able to take on offensive tackles head on and win. He's able to take on guards, centers, and win. He's able to do all of these things. Nick Bolton can do them. How many times do you have to roll that same dice to get a win out of Nick Bolton? Leo Chenal seemingly just forearm shivs a guy, and a lot of the fight's taken out of him, right? So it strikes me that the future of the linebacker core, Drue Tranquill's here for 3 years, 3 more years, signed that 3-year deal. Drue Tranquill is an exceptional coverage linebacker. Nick Bolton, this is the final season on his rookie deal. He's going to be here this year. Leo Chenal might be the heir to the Nick Bolton throne, but so long as all 3 of those guys are running out there this season, this is going to be absolutely, in my opinion, one of the better linebacker cores in the NFL. And if Nick Bolton is full strength this year and Leo Chenal cleans things up in the pass defense department, not necessarily the pass rush department, I think I would love to see more Leo Chenal in the pass rush department. We don't get nearly enough Leo Chenal in the pass rush department. He wins those matchups. He forces quarterbacks off of their spot and causes chaos in the backfield. But if he can learn how to cover a curl route, the Kansas City Chiefs will have the best linebacker core in the NFL, and it's going to be a linebacker core that you can ride to the Super Bowl. It is strange in this day and age of the NFL from where I grew up. When I grew up, Ray Lewis was the man. The middle linebacker was still the defining position of your defense. And it seems that today, with the passing being more and more a part of the NFL, that linebackers are being sort of phased out of the game. But we saw last season that a strong linebacker core can absolutely be instrumental in winning games, can absolutely be instrumental in late game drives. If another team is trying to grind out that clock and you have Leo Chenal and Nick Bolton on the field stuffing those running lanes, it's not going to work very well. That will keep you in a lot of games that could otherwise have gotten away from you. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Leo Chenal moving forward. Should Leo Chenal assume the Nick Bolton position? Can Leo Chenal get better at pass coverage? I think so. I think we're only seeing the beginning for Leo Chenal. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I cover on this channel. So consider hitting the subscribe button to stick around for more Chiefs content in the future. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.